Hue Jackson on our show today. A real pleasure for me. I have said through the years there's a handful of NFL guys that should never discount college football, and I'll get into that in about 10 minutes. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Hugh, it's great to meet you. It's great to have you on the show.
Glad to be here.
Let's start with Dez. He was in your facility, and I may be full of hooey, but I do think the Gordon thing makes it easier to get the Dez thing. You had Dez. Why didn't you make the move?
Well, we just, as an organization at that time, didn't feel like it was the right fit. And I think also, in fairness to Dez, I didn't think he felt like it was the right fit at that time. Sometimes both sides have to come together,
right? And
it's got to work for everybody. And at that time, it just didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, you had a new quarterback and a young quarterback. Now, similarly, I didn't think Josh Gordon in New England would work. I came out and I said, oh, boy. Listen, when there's too many things on the periphery here, I just don't think it's going to work.
Right.
I get Cleveland, and at the time I'm like, I don't want Josh Gordon with Baker. I don't feel this is good. So I didn't mind your move, and I didn't get New England's move. It's kind of working. Let's go back to the Josh Gordon thing. You let him go. Why?
Well, again, as an organization, we made a decision to move forward and move on. In honesty, I think it's great for Josh. I think Josh needed a change of scenery. I think everything that had happened to him happened in Cleveland. And the organization did anything and everything that it could to help him be the best version of himself. It just didn't work out. So we moved on, and we wish Josh well. And obviously, Josh is doing great things.
I'm not going to put you in a compromising situation. I have supported you. I have said before, I think the problem in Cleveland is not coaching, it's ownership. And I'm not going to put you in that spot because that's my opinion, and I don't think coaches should have to comment about owners because you have further employment down the road. But I will say that I said on the air 2 weeks ago that I had been told through sources I trust that you liked Wentz, loved him, that you liked Deshaun Watson, loved him. And then T.J. Hushmanzada came on my show a day later and said this.
Number one, I knew he wanted Wentz 2 years ago. I knew he wanted Watson last year. Me and Hugh talked, when he was in Baltimore, we talk about players. When he was in Atlanta, we talk about players. When he was in Cleveland, we talk about players prior to each and every draft. And he straight up said, I love Carson Wentz. Dude, he loved Deshaun. He loved him.
But you don't get that choice. That choice, you lobbied for it, though, right? You were in a room lobbying.
Oh, you always lobby. But at the end of the day, we make a decision as an organization. You be collaborative. That's where you work. You do what you think is best for the organization.
But owners don't get fired. You do.
That's part of it.
Hugh, I'm not going to lie. I am not mature enough. I would be a little bitter if I lobbied for stuff. You didn't take him. They star for down the street. How can you not have a little bitterness?
You know what, Colin? I am excited that I was one of 32. I was very privileged and honored to be the head coach in Cleveland. And when I look back at it, it just didn't work out. I think why it didn't really that matter, whether I did get this, didn't get that, none of that matters at this point. I think today where I am, they've moved forward. I have to move forward. I'm grateful for the time. The fans have been outstanding. Matter of fact, my flight over here, there was fans in the airport, and they were outstanding. And I need to take the opportunity to tell them thank you because truly all I ever wanted to do was bring winning to Cleveland. But at the end of the day, I wasn't able to hold up my end of the bargain.
I'm not a fan of Hard Knocks. As a consumer, I get it. I think it's unfair to coaching staffs. If you put a camera in my house and you see stuff my wife's throwing at me, you'd think we were crazy people. Okay, I don't like it. I think reality shows, you start acting, young players start acting, it changes people. I didn't think you or the organization looked great. It took me to places that I don't need to see. Mm-hmm. Did you push back on that?
We always push back on those things. But I think when I looked at it, again, I didn't see it the way everybody else saw it, because in real time, I think it was totally different. I think the optics of what people see are totally different of what really happens as it's happening. All that stuff is put together. They're trying to tell a story, and sometimes they can tell the wrong story, and I get it.
Yeah. So, there's a moment with you and Haley. And Todd, listen, Todd's reputation, he's an intense dude. Mm-hmm. He's been a head coach. He wants to be a head coach again. Just show 15 seconds of it. Roll the tape. Now, do you regret that? It looked like he was not happy with it. And what do you make of that now you watch it?
No, I still think, everybody needs to understand the conversation prior to that. it was already explained why we had taken guys out. So I was a little surprised that we were even going back through it again. We made decisions because of data that we found that if we monitor how guys practice, it cuts down on soft tissue injuries. So here we are again discussing it, and I understand where Todd's coming from. He's new. So maybe the first meeting, maybe he didn't hear everything. Maybe he didn't understand it all.
Right.
At that time, I needed to move forward because what we were doing, we were going to do. We wasn't going to change. We had too much of the data that said to us, our players, we don't pull muscles if we do it this way. So everybody else that was there understood it. He was new. He caught that piece of it. And so really I was trying to make fun of it. And that's why I say, Al, what do we always say? Because that's something between me and Al Saunders and the rest of the guys that have been there. Yeah. Hey, look here, when you get your own team, you get to do whatever you want. That's all that was.
Baker Mayfield, I didn't like the off-field nonsense and a lot of the grabbing and stuff. I was more of a Darnold guy, but I did say that Darnold would lead the NFL in interceptions. He played hero ball at USC. He's 2 years younger, half the starts at Baker. Be that as it may, you like Baker enough because you can tell that you like him enough, and he can do some things. He's accurate as heck with a football. Mm-hmm. He throws a great ball. What was the ultimate selling point? If there was one thing they're all lined up, because Darnold's a little bigger, probably a little better athlete. He played linebacker in high school, and he made some great. He didn't have quite the system, but was there one thing about Baker that when he was out of the room, you could like or not like, but what was the deal? What the deal closer for you?
The deal closer for me is I've watched him impact the people around him. He's able to make people play better than what they can play. I mean, he has an internal fire within him that is unmatched, in my opinion. The guy is built the right way. And if you're going to turn around an organization that has been losing, a guy's got to be able to handle that. You can't just walk in there because all of a sudden you become what that organization is. And I don't think he will ever let the organization, what's gone on there, affect him. I think he will rise above it.
Now, there is a moment, a piece of tape. It was early in the camp. This was one of my favorite moments where you as the veteran coach and the kid. And let me play this. You know what? I saw that and I went, oh, Baker's already showing up late, having a bagel in the morning. Come on, Coach.
No, that's not what it was at all.
What was that?
Late. No, I think what I was trying to do is he was already had a process. To me, let's make sure it's the best. You're competing against Tyrod Taylor. So I made a statement in there that, hey, if you're going to compete on the football field, compete off the field, compete in everything that you do. It's the meeting room everywhere. That's what that was about. I think Baker has had a really good system. But, boy, if there's more you could do as much as you could. I was just challenging him that way. I think there was nothing wrong. There was nothing that he was doing wrong or anything like that. That was just, again, that's the moment that people catch, and that's what was said. And all it was, hey, here's an opportunity for you to do more, compete, go take a shot at it.
You like that whole grabbing himself stuff in college, though? Come on. God, I hated that, Hugh.
He got swag. So why did you tell me why you hated it?
I didn't like the police video. I don't think Russell Wilson would have that. I don't think Andrew Luck would have that. I don't like grabbing junk. I think quarterback is an extension of coach. I think I always use a term. One of the reasons I have a problem with Trump, he's not presidential. I like my quarterbacks to be quarterbackial. Okay? So so Jeff George, my cup of tea. Johnny Manziel, not my cup of tea. I think there are times that Russell Wilson had a player drop a touchdown in the end zone Sunday. Made a hell of a throw. And for 1 second, Russell was angry. And then it snapped. I'm the quarterback of a franchise, $2 billion franchise. There are times Baker's not quarterback-heel. Is that fair?
Well, I think, I understand where you're coming from, but I think we're talking about college and young men, and I think, again, everybody makes some mistakes sometimes, but I know when I dove into it, I understood it better. I think the young man learned from it. I don't think that's who he is. Now, he has a swagger, he has a fire, and he has a desire, and he's trying to beat you. There's no question about that. I will never take that away from him. Can everybody do things better? Yes, we all can. But that young man is a quarterback, and he's going to be a really good quarterback in the National Football League.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.